The snow.
If I hear the word atmospheric river again, I'm going to croak.
Re-emerging lake. A century after it disappeared, a California lake is back, and plenty of people are not happy about it.
And drown over 150 square miles of farmland and counting.
Keeping your distance. The new rules designed to prevent close encounters with killer whales.
Just because we're protecting one group of whales doesn't mean you can't whale watch.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Flood advisories are now posted for portions of the Salt Lake City region as water from melting snow is moving towards the valleys. One major creek is expected to reach flood stage overnight tonight and then again Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. The cause? Above normal temperatures and that historic snowpack. As Ariel Harrison explains, people living in the water's path are getting ready.
I think nervous went out the door about 4 days ago.
Yeah. Since last week, Jim Martin and Mary McIntyre say they've been in crisis mode to protect their home.
I mean, we've been bagging for 3 days.
We'll have 3 lines of defense, and hopefully that's enough.
But right now, who knows for certain what's enough? Miguel Jimenez lives in Emigration Canyon, where sandbags are now part of the landscape on his property.
I probably got about 300. Maybe 300 to 500, actually.
Even before the flood advisory.
We're going to have more water coming down.
Salt Lake County's mayor gave what seemed like a sobering forecast.
That's going to mean trees and our pipes. That's going to mean blockages.
Runoff debris has already touched off flooding in Kaysville and in Sugar House. At their home, McIntyre and Martin know what is, not what's next.
It's just a little trickle in our gutter.
Yeah, but what's to come is the big question mark. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
And it was a stormy Saturday in parts of the Midwest and also the South. Hail as big as 3 inches long fell in portions of Missouri, not far from St. Louis. Elsewhere in Missouri, the storm blew out windows in this rec center's indoor pool. Preliminary information from the National Weather Service found 7 tornadoes were in the area on Saturday. In Arkansas, the strong winds literally snapped one tree in half right there. Thankfully, there are no reports of injuries following the storms. Right now, more than 30,000 runners are hitting the streets in Massachusetts for the 127th Boston Marathon. The race marks 10 years since the deadly bombings in 2013. The marathon starts in the Boston suburb of Hopkinton, then moves east, ending near Boston's Copley Square. The heat will not be a problem here this morning. It's 51 degrees at the starting line with drizzle and some fog, and we'll stay in the 50s with a chance of a shower throughout the race. Now, historically, weather for the marathon has really been unpredictable. In 2012, the high was 87 degrees. 5 years ago, it was 38 degrees at the start of the race with drenching rain and strong winds. Snow fell at least 5 times, most recently in 1967. The hottest temperature was in 1905 at 100 degrees. The big melt from this year's record-breaking snowfall in California is more than just, a runoff. It's revealing cars, homes, businesses, all that were buried. Myra Franco from our station in Reno, Nevada, spoke with people who live in the mountains near Lake Tahoe, where some of the heaviest snow fell.
So funny, when I had just bought a new Honda snowblower in December. Best investment I ever made.
That snowblower was put to use this winter for Howie Nave, who lives in South Lake Tahoe. But he says the area got hit with so much snow that didn't even work.
I had to get on a ladder and start shoveling the very top of the snow wall because the snowblower couldn't shoot that high over the wall of snow.
This was his view from outside his house, buried in snow. Same story for his neighbors.
A lady down the street, the snow ruptured her gas meter, so she had no heat. The neighbor across the street, part of the roof caved in. I had giant slabs of ice that slid off the roof and took out my kitchen window.
Tuesday, he took these jaw-dropping photos of different vehicles around town thawing out as temperatures started to warm up.
I go, look, I think I see the top of a car over there. And then I turned around just to get a picture of it. It was just like a throwaway. And then I saw 2 other cars parked next to each other. I go, oh my God, I see an antenna sticking out. And then I saw the side of a car where somebody had tried to shovel it, but they quit. and all the tires are flat.
Now, he says, they're prepping for the next brutal thing, flooding.
This has been the most brutal winter I've ever experienced up here. 22 years living up here. It's just been nonstop. If I hear the word atmospheric river again, I'm going to croak.
And a major factor with heavy snow in Lake Tahoe this year has been several atmospheric rivers. It's a term that we have heard many times. Meteorologist Violet Skybird breaks down exactly what it is.
Have you ever heard a meteorologist refer to the term atmospheric river? Well, similar to an actual river, an atmospheric river is a large, narrow, continuous band of moisture, but in the sky. And as it flows inward, it can create some precipitation. So this giant band of water vapor on average is about 200 to 400 miles wide. And as it pushes inland and reaches some kind of barrier such as mountains, they force it upward. And with moisture moving upwards, it condenses and falls, producing rain. And if cold enough, which the taller the mountain, the colder the air temperature, it can even fall as snow. And depending on the intensity of this, atmospheric rivers can actually produce very heavy snow, flooding, even mudslides. And this usually tends to occur along the coast of California, where we have the mountains right off the coast. And with an atmospheric river flowing inland, it can create some issues. So hopefully you learned something more about atmospheric rivers.
Well, June marks the start of hurricane season. This year, we transitioned from La Nina to El Nino, leaving many wondering what that means for the intensity of this year's hurricanes. Meteorologist Ryan Mirando has some answers.
Hurricane season is just about a month and a half away. It starts on June 1st and goes until November 30th. That is the 2023 hurricane season. And when we're forecasting for a season, we look normally for two things. We look for the El Nino or La Nina pattern, and we also look how sea surface temperatures could be impacting our tropical development. So first, with the El Nino or La Nina, we look through the equatorial Pacific at the ocean temperatures through this white box here. Notice on the right side of it, near the coast of South America, temperatures are leaning towards the above average. So it looks like we're going to be having an El Nino year. Now, what that means for us back here at home in the tropics is that usually gives us a lot more wind shear in the atmosphere, and that normally prohibits tropical development. It acts just like it cuts off the top of the storms and normally causes less stronger storms. Now, in terms of sea surface temperatures, though, they look to be slightly above average for all the areas there in red. Now, this normally favors tropical development, so this forecast could lean really either other direction, but the Colorado State University has given their forecast, and they're saying that it's going to be a slightly below average year.
When you hear the term sunny day, you may think it is what it sounds, but there's actually a technical definition for sunny day. Theron Zahn explains.
Many people enjoy a sunny day, but did you know there's actually a technical definition of what a sunny day is? You might be wondering what that is. Well, according to the National Weather Service, a technically sunny day is when there are no non-transparent clouds. Another weather term you might have heard of is fair weather. Technically, that means there's less than 3/8 opaque clouds and no extremes when it comes to wind or temperature or visibility. And what you're looking at right here is not technically a sunny day because you can see some non-transparent clouds. Now you know.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to California for a look at a once dormant lake that is now making a comeback and find out why in some areas it might get harder to see killer whales. And time for a short break. As we go, we'll leave you with a view of Montana from above.
A cold front will sweep through the northeast as we head through the day tomorrow, and we're looking at some rain, even a few thunderstorms down towards parts of southern New England. And this will slowly move on up towards the north, bring rain showers up towards northern New England. But take a look at this. A little snow shower activity possible over towards the Great Lakes. That's an indication some colder air will move in as we head into the day on Tuesday with some scattered showers lingering into the day Tuesday as well. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Starting off dry into early Monday. Going to see some patchy clouds, though, move in as we head through the midday and afternoon. Maybe even a few showers over the higher elevations as the latest weather maker kind of spirals back in. And you can see some of these grains, especially over northern Maryland into portions of the Appalachians. And looks like, again, an afternoon, evening issue. Temperature's nice, near 70. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. It looks like a cool one in Nashville, 67 degrees. Raleigh, 70 degrees. Looking at 75 in Pensacola, 79 Jacksonville, 79 Tampa, 82 in West Palm, a warm one. Looks like the front is pushing to the south. That cold front will continue to clear out the atmosphere, bringing in refreshing air across the southeast. Looks like plenty of sunshine, especially as we get into Tuesday. We'll probably definitely see breezy conditions, but nice and clear for the next couple of days.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Cirrus uncinus clouds appear in the Washington state skies. Also known as mare's tails, they generally are ahead of a warm front that will soon bring cloudy skies and rainy weather. Planting season in Arkansas is underway with a magnificent orange sky in the background. And the Skagit Valley Tulip Festival is in full bloom north of Seattle. It's the largest tulip festival in the United States.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
A once dry lake in Central California is reemerging thanks to all those atmospheric rivers this past winter, and those floodwaters are causing problems for the people who now live there. Tulare Lake is in the southern San Joaquin Valley. As Bill Weir shows us, it's not even on the map because it vanished so long ago.
In California's Central Valley, farmers have spent much of the last 20 years praying for rain. But then came this winter of relentless rivers in the sky, enough to bring a long-dead lake back to life and drown over 150 square miles of farmland and counting. So now they pray for the water to stop.
It is mind-blowing to realize that if you'd stood here for the last couple of generations, you'd be watching the sunset over dusty fields of cotton or alfalfa or pistachio trees, and now it is waterfront property. I had no idea Tulare Lake was once the biggest freshwater body west of the Mississippi, but it was dammed and diked and drained to build a $2 billion agriculture industry. And now it's back. It's proof that water never forgets. And this may just be the beginning, because behind those clouds over there, the Sierra Nevadas are so packed with snow. It's 260% above normal, and sooner or later that's going to melt, which is only going to make this flooding worse and last longer.
There's quite a few unknowns.
That is UCLA scientist Daniel Swain, and last summer he published a paper that found weather whiplash will become only more extreme on an overheating planet. And worst case, Tulare Lake could grow into a vast inland sea.
That as disruptive and as damaging as this year's flooding has been, it's still nowhere near close to what we foresee as the plausible worst case scenario.
All of the crops are completely flooded and ruined. So it takes a lot of jobs for people. That's a lot of food that we provide for up and down California and all around the nation. This is just from the rain. The snow melts. There's nowhere for it to go besides here.
The severe weather season in California left behind a lot of destruction. One of the things destroyed the historic Dinky Creek Bridge. Christina Lopez explains how the U.S. Forest Service and the city of Fresno are now responding to the loss of this landmark and what it will take to rebuild it.
A historic winter weather season was enough to bring down the 85-year-old Dinky Creek Bridge, leaving behind a history of memories for those who visited the iconic landmark.
I know there was a lot of snow up there, and so to see that it had that impact is it's devastating.
Built in 1938, Dinky Creek Bridge opened the forest to those visiting from the San Joaquin Valley and nearby towns. In the 1960s, the bridge was closed to vehicle traffic. In 1988, Dinky Creek Bridge was placed on the National Register of Historic Places.
It's a bowstring arch. It has bowstring arch trusses, and so that's what makes it significant, because there aren't very many in the state that are that way, that are built like that.
But that same unique design means not just any architect can rebuild it back to its original design. More recently, the Dinky Creek Bridge was used as a pedestrian crossing connecting both Camp Fresno and Camp Fresno Junior Camp, part of the city of Fresno. The bridge has also served as the backdrop to countless personal milestones and moments in the lives of visitors. The U.S. Forest Service says it is working on a specific solution as it works to connect the landmark's past and future.
It bridges an area, so we have to have a solution in there. There is a solution in there. The plan is to rebuild it.
In Washington state, there will soon be new rules for recreational boaters trying to get a peek of the southern resident killer whales. A new law will require both whale watching boats and recreational vessels to stay 1,000 yards away from the endangered orcas. Jackie Kent in Seattle with the details.
Washington is one of the best whale watching spots in the world. Officials are emphasizing that new legislation pushing recreational vessels hundreds of yards further away from endangered orcas won't change that.
Just because we're protecting one group of whales doesn't mean you can't whale watch.
Puget Sound Express Tours GM Sarah Hankey emphasizes whale watch vessels already follow the 1,000-yard distance, but the distance is new to recreational vessels that have been allowed to view southern resident killer whales from a distance of 300 yards.
That may be recreational fishers or just people out kayaking or on a pleasure cruise do the same thing. So giving those whales some extra space so that the underwater noise doesn't disturb their ability to catch salmon.
Julie Watson with the State Department of Fish and Wildlife says the species was hit hard decades ago by captures for aquariums. They've been slow to recover because of a lack of available salmon, water contaminants, and underwater noise. There are now only 73 southern resident killer whales.
Especially the females need extra space so that they can catch food and feed their young.
The legislation states the Department of Fish and Wildlife will enforce the vessel setbacks through outreach and by posting signs at public boat launches and marinas. But boaters who are unsure if they're near the endangered orca can keep an eye out for whale watching boats that often act as sentinels.
We put up a whale warning flag so boaters know there's whales in the water, like slow down.
Officials state that whale watching tours focus on the other species on our area that they can get closer to, including the Bigg's killer whales, humpbacks, gray whales, and minke whales.
And earlier this month, tulip fields in Washington state were nothing but stems of green. But after a late start to the season, the tulips are finally beginning to bloom. Karina Vargas has more.
The wait is over for people wanting to visit tulip farms. The bright colors of purple, red, and orange are in full effect. And for painters like Autumn Kegley, this moment has been in her calendar for months.
It's incredibly refreshing to see this kind of color after an entire really long gray winter and spring.
Autumn isn't the only one waiting for this moment. Brent Rusin with Rusengard Farm tells me they've had to be patient because this marked their latest bloom on record. He said the weather has also not been kind, which added more pressure to their business.
So we do about 90% of our revenue during the spring bloom. So when it gets pushed back and you're slow, you're not anywhere where you hope to be at this point. So hopefully we'll catch up.
And things are looking up now that more tulips are starting to bloom.
This is about as many people as we've got combined from the entire year. So the tulips, they've been late to arrive. They're worth the wait. We have a lot of color out in the field now.
With everyone enjoying the blue skies, today's painters like Autumn are hoping this trend continues.
It's pretty much the first time I haven't been hunkered in my car observing our beautiful nature. So it's kind of awesome.
At the top of the hour, we told you about the storms that rolled through Arkansas over the weekend. Several viewers captured a unique shot of lightning strike with a rainbow in the background. That right there, experts say rainbow lightning is rare, but beautiful when you can catch it. You have to be in the right spot, of course, and looking in the right direction. We'll be right back.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest. A lot of sunshine across the plains. Got this huge area of low pressure giving snow and rain across the Great Lakes. That continues moving out to the east for the day tomorrow. And temperatures starting to try to warm up a little bit for us by Tuesday. And as we get to Wednesday, could see some strong thunderstorms across the northern plains there. Iowa included in that, but definitely warming up across the south. Look at all those 80s on the way by Wednesday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. A look at our forecast across the region where we will be starting off cool and crisp, upper 40s from Oklahoma City to Amarillo this morning. Otherwise, mainly in the 50s, 60s down towards Corpus Christi to start your day. Throughout the day, partly sunny skies, very nice 70s and low 80s. Do have a few showers and isolated thunderstorms across portions of West Texas. Overnights, quiet again, but we do have more showers developing in the mountains of northern Mexico headed towards South Texas to start off your Tuesday, mostly cloudy with temperatures in the 50s and 60s.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Well below normal temperatures blasting into the Pacific Northwest, gradually making its way into the Southwest. But ultimately, several rounds of showers and thunderstorms crashing into the West Coast, especially from Washington through Oregon, will now begin to work its way down into parts of California through the course of the next few days. And that's the scene from here.
California is home to many types of birds, including a rather large eagle population. Reporter Anna Montemore got to learn about one eagle who was able to fully recover after being hit by a car.
This is Titanium, a North State bald eagle who has definitely earned that name, as just back in November, Titanium almost lost her life.
She hit the windshield and went through it, and, honestly, if she had her wings out, they would have been ripped off. What happened is there were like 5 eagles on the side of the road, and they must have been eating something, because they don't hang out on the side of the road for no reason. But the one eagle that I got, for some reason, she flew up, and then she turned around, and she dived back at the van.
Something that Marilee says is extremely rare for birds to do, crashing through the windshield of a family of 5 where luckily no one was hurt except for Titanium. And slowly but surely, Marilee worked with Titanium to finally be able to release her back into the wild.
When you're driving and you do see a bird on the side of the road because they're feeding, they don't want to leave it, so they wait till the last minute. And if you just keep going as fast as you were going, they don't have any time to get out of the way.
Slowing down when seeing birds on the side of the road can be a simple way of ensuring both the bird's safety and yours as well.
And thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll break down how tornado strength is measured. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Monday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.